want you to think back to a moment, maybe it was yesterday, maybe 10 years ago, when something brushed up against your life. Quiet, unexpected. Maybe you didn't even know what it was at the time. You didn't come dressed in gold. It didn't have flashing lights around it. It didn't scream, "This is it." It came like a whisper, like a soft tap on your shoulder. While the rest of the world was yelling, that's how opportunity shows up. You ever hear a knock at the door? When you're in another room, you pause, wonder if you heard something, then decide it was nothing. That's what happens to too many people in life. They think the knock was for someone else. They think the knock was too faint to matter. They think they can answer it later. But let me tell you something, life's biggest moments don't always start big. Sometimes they sneak in like a breeze under a closed window, barely noticeable, unless you're paying attention. I remember walking into a small audition hall years ago, and I was surrounded by people who were taller, louder, more confident, more connected. And everything in me said, "You don't belong here." But deep down, something else whispered, "This might be your knock." See, the problem is we think the knock has to look impressive. We think it has to come with a big check or a big name or a big title. But most of the time, it comes looking ordinary, unremarkable. It comes in the form of a call you almost don't take, a job you think is beneath you, an idea you push aside because it doesn't make sense yet. But if you knew what was waiting behind that door, you'd run through walls to open it. The danger is not that the opportunity won't come. The danger is that we'll be too distracted, too cynical, or too self-doubting to hear the knock when it does. You ever see someone else live out a dream that looked like yours? That's not always because they were better than you. It's because when the knock came, they answered. So now I'm asking you, are you still waiting for a louder knock? Or will you listen closely to the one that's been tapping on your soul? Because if you don't open that door, someone else will. And they walk into the life that could have been yours. You ever see a door crack open just a little bit? Just enough to catch a glimpse of what's on the other side, but not wide enough to walk through comfortably? That's how life gives you your shot. Not wide open, not easy, not guaranteed, just cracked, just enough to let you decide. And here's the truth most people don't want to face. That crack won't wait for you. I remember my first real film opportunity. It wasn't glamorous. No star trailer, no fanfare, just a small part, a few lines, but it was something. It was my name on a call sheet. It was me being invited into a space I'd only dreamed of. That door had cracked open, and I could feel it. I mean, really feel it. This was my moment. Not the big break yet, but the moment that could lead to the break if I showed up right. A cracked door demands more from you than an open one. You gotta squeeze through. You gotta bend, shift, and sometimes break old parts of yourself to get through. Because the door isn't open out of generosity. It's open just enough to test you, to see if you're serious, to see if you're hungry enough, focused enough, grateful enough. You'd be surprised how many people stand frozen when that crack appears. They want to negotiate with it. They want to wait until it's wide enough to be comfortable. But that ain't how it works. Life doesn't give comfort first. It gives you opportunity. And it's your job to make it into something bigger. See, the crack doesn't mean it's your door forever. It means it's your door right now. And the longer you hesitate, the closer it gets to shutting. Because trust me, There's someone else watching, someone else waiting, someone else who sees the crack in the door you're scared to walk through, and they're not going to wait for your permission. And when they go through it, when they turn your maybe into their breakthrough, you're going to feel that deep, like a lesson you can't unlearn. So when that door cracks open, no matter how small the gap, no matter how unprepared you feel, no matter how loud your fears are, you move, you go, you knock louder, you wedge your foot in that space, and you don't let it close until you've earned your right to stay on the other side. That crack is your chance, not your certainty, not your safety, your chance. And sometimes it's all you get. Let me tell you something that took me years to learn. Hesitation is expensive. Not in dollars, not in bills, but in moments, in missed chances, and the kind of regret that shows up late at night and whispers that could have been yours. We like to believe we've got time to figure it out, time to get ready, time to wait until everything feels safe, clear, perfect. But time isn't waiting on you. That opportunity, it came knocking. And while you were thinking, somebody else was running. I've seen it happen in rooms full of talent. Real world-class talent. People with the voice, the look, the skill, the heart. But they got caught in the waiting game, waiting for the fear to go away, waiting for someone to guarantee the outcome, waiting for applause before they've even stepped on the stage. Let me be real with you. Fear will always be there. It doesn't go away when you succeed. It just changes its face. But hesitation feeds it. It gives fear the keys to your future. It tells fear, you're the boss now. I remember sitting outside a casting office once, nerves tearing at my chest. I almost didn't go in. Not because I didn't want it, but because I wanted it too much. Because the thought of failing in front of people who could change my life scared me more than the idea of walking away. But walking away doesn't protect you. It just delays the pain. Because later on, when someone else walks through the door you could have taken, and you see them living the life that looked like your dream, that's when the price of hesitation hits you. Zach, who's homecoming on? And let me tell you, that bill is heavy. It comes in dollars, it comes in what ifs. What if I had tried? What if I had believed in myself for just one more minute? What if I had jumped, even scared? There are people walking around with full potential locked inside them because they never gave themselves permission to move. They've got gifts the world needs, but fear kept them frozen at the threshold. 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and now the door's closed. So I'm telling you now, if you've got a fire in your chest, if you see a crack in the door, don't freeze, don't flinch, don't hesitate, because every second you spend questioning yourself is a second someone else spends becoming what you were too scared to be. And the longer you wait, the more that door starts to shut, slowly, quietly, until one day it's gone. And you left with the echo of everything you didn't do. When that door opens, whether it's cracked or wide, you can't walk through it timid. You can't stroll in like you're unsure if you belong. You got to walk through with intention, with authority, with purpose, because walking through the door isn't the victory, it's the beginning of the test. See, anybody can get a moment. Anybody can catch a break, be in the right room, shake the right hand. But staying in that room, thriving in that space, that's not luck. That's purpose. That's showing up every single day like the world is watching, even when it isn't. You ever notice how some people walk into a room and you just feel their presence before they even speak? That's not ego. That's not arrogance. That's someone who knows they've fought too hard, waited too long, sacrificed too much to show up small. That's someone who understands the weight of the opportunity in front of them. When you walk through that door, you have to carry your story with you. Your struggle, your scars, your faith, your discipline. Every late night you stayed up grinding. Every time you failed and got back up. Every moment when you wanted to quit but didn't. That's your armor. That's your power. Because once you're inside, it's not about proving you were lucky to get there. It's about proving you were meant to be there. But here's what nobody tells you. When you walk through that door with purpose, you're not just walking in for you. You're walking in for every person who couldn't. Every person who never got the chance. Every person watching you, hoping it's still possible. You become the proof. When you get your moment, when that door swings open and invites you through, you better bring everything with you. Not just talent, not just charm. Bring your grit, bring your prayer life, bring your inner voice that whispers, keep going when no one else is clapping, because that door might close again. The opportunity might not last forever. But if you walk through it with purpose, if you gave it everything, then you won't ever have to wonder if you were ready. You won't ever have to ask yourself, did I waste it? People confuse walking through the door with arriving. But that door isn't the finish line, it's the starting gun. And when it goes off, you run. You dig deep, you sweat, you sacrifice, you stay late, you study harder, you pray stronger, you build something so solid, so undeniable, that even if the door shuts behind you, you're already 5 steps into the future you were destined for. You weren't made to tiptoe, you were made to take ground. So if the door opens, don't just step in, storm in like the world needs. Like the world needs what you carry. Because it does. One day the door will close, not because you're not worthy, not because the dream wasn't real, not because God didn't have something for you, but because everything has a season. And doors, just like seasons, don't stay open forever. See, most people think they'll always have another chance. They think opportunity is loyal, that it'll come back around next year or the year after that, when things feel more comfortable, more certain, more right. But life doesn't owe you a second knock. Sometimes all you get is one. And what you do with it or don't do with it is on you. You can't assume time will wait for you to be brave. You can't assume the world will pause while you fix your confidence, get over your fear, or finally decide you're ready. Because while you're overthinking, life is moving. While you're doubting, someone else is deciding. While you're preparing for the perfect moment, someone with half your talent and twice your courage is already out there building what you were too hesitant to start. I've seen it in this industry. I've seen it in life. People who waited too long. People who sat on their gifts until the phone stopped ringing, until the room stopped opening, until the very dream that once felt so close became a memory, a ghost, and you can see it in their eyes, regret. That kind of ache that doesn't come from failure, but from never having tried. Let me tell you something personal. Every meaningful thing I've ever done, I did before I felt ready. Every leap I took with shaking hands, uncertain steps, and faith that had to outrun fear. Because I knew deep down, if I don't move now, I might not get another shot. That's why I'm telling you this with urgency. Because you know exactly what door I'm talking about. You've seen it in your dreams. You felt it pulling at your spirit. You've heard it call your name in moments of stillness, when the world was quiet and your purpose got loud. But what are you going to do? Wait until it's wide open? Wait until somebody drags you through? Wait until it's too late? Because the day will come when you walk up to that same door full of hope and ideas and potential, and it'll be closed. Not out of cruelty, not out of punishment, just because it's time. So I'm telling you now, while it's still open, while it's still a crack of light shining through, while you still have breath in your body and fight in your bones, step boldly, step scared, step uncertain. But for the love of everything inside you, step, because the door won't stay open forever. And when it closes, make sure it doesn't close with your dream still on the other side. So now you've heard it. The knock, the crack, the cost, the responsibility, the urgency. I didn't come here to inspire you with fairy tales. I came here to remind you of what's already in you. What's been waiting, growing, aching to come out. That dream, that fire, that pull you feel every time you look in the mirror and know you're made for more, that's real. But the door to your destiny is not made of steel, it's made of time. And time runs out. So don't wait for perfect, don't wait for permission. Don't wait for someone to drag you across the line. You were born ready. You were born with everything you need. Now it's up to you to move. Because when you look back years from now, and you will, you'll either remember the moment you hesitated or the moment you decided this is it. I'm walking through. Make the choice today to live like the door is closing, because one day it will. And when it does, let it shut behind you, not in front of you. Thank you.